cut day for the Bengals. They announced their opening roster. Good afternoon to you. I'm Tricia Mackey. Sports Director Joe D, we were talking about it yesterday, so you've been tracking the moves. Any surprises?
You know, I think it's important to understand, Tricia, first, that stars and starters don't sweat this day at the stadium. This is about the final few spots on the roster. Will they keep an extra wide receiver, maybe an extra running back? This is a Super Bowl ready roster. Everybody watching this knows that, and that matters to the players trying to make this team. It's a chance for them to play for and with one of the best teams in the NFL. We didn't expect any surprises today, and I don't think any players on this list will surprise the fan base. I have to say this at first. This is not yet official for the Bengals. These are some of the moves that are reportedly trickling throughout social media. We are still waiting for the email confirmation from the Bengals here any minute now. But these names are the players that I would list as notables from the cut list. And anyone who saw the Bengals' final preseason game in Washington saw that Jake Browning outplayed Trevor Siemian at quarterback. So Siemian is out, and Jake Browning will be Joe Burrow's backup. Trent Taylor is probably the biggest name on this list. He caught the game-tying two-point conversion in Kansas City when the Bengals made the Super Bowl. But the team drafted two wide receivers, and they just performed better than Taylor at training camp. Hakeem Adeniji, you know that name. He started the Super Bowl at tackle. He's out. Drew Chrisman is a recognizable name. He's from here in Cincinnati. He played at LaSalle High School. The Bengals are going with rookie punter Brad Robbins and not Drew Chrisman. So that's who didn't make it. This is video of players who did. That is Charlie Jones. He's a rookie wide receiver. He made the team. Now, the big splash of training camp is this guy, Andre Yoshivas. With the uncertain futures of Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins after this season, the Bengals needed to reload the wide receiver room. They did that. That is Chris Evans, always a bubble guy on the Bengals roster. He apparently made it. Can he now make himself a role as a third down running back with Samaje Perine no longer a Cincinnati Bengal? So that is the list from the Bengals. We are waiting for, again, the official email from the team. But now it's time to ask some questions. Zach Taylor is doing a Zoom call with the media this hour. I'll be on that call. Look, Tricia, it's now 12 days until the Bengals opener in Cleveland. Will Joe Burrow return to practice this week? He needs time on the practice field to be sharp in week one. I would say follow me on Twitter. That'll be the first place for any new information as it happens from Zach Taylor today.
Okay, so contract-wise, let me just talk about that one. Where are we with that?
So there have been no updates on the contract because Joe Burrow hasn't talked since the injury.
Okay.
So that's what the Bengals do. When a guy gets hurt, they typically stay away from the media. We're at now a month plus since Joe Burrow's injury, so there have been no updates on the contract, and we haven't seen him on the practice field. Now, we've been told and hinted at that Joe Burrow is doing things in walkthroughs, some of the practices that we don't see from the Bengals. So I do believe he is doing some work, but it's behind the scenes. Will we see him out there on the practice field with his teammates starting tomorrow? That is the question.
Now, the couple of guys that did get cut, the ones, they weren't rookies. I mean, like you said, like they were playing last year. They started. They were in the Super Bowl, right?
Right. So that was because I talk about Hakeem Adeniji here. He was an offensive lineman who started. The Bengals were down linemen, their starters, so they had to go to some of their backups. And look, he didn't perform well enough over the last couple of years. The Bengals had brought in new players to play his position, so he is kind of an odd man out. Doesn't mean their time is up in Cincinnati. Now they go on the waivers process. It's a chance for other teams in the NFL to pick these guys up. If they don't, the Bengals then have the option to put them on a practice squad.
Man, I'll tell you what, that preseason matters, doesn't it?
It does. To these guys, it really does. We always talk about, hey, are we going to see the starters? No, the preseason's about the guys who are trying to make the roster, and some of them did.
Yeah, you got to be spectacular on the field.
You do.